Today's guest is local celebrity business consultant Chris Ronzio, and he has created something that is going to change your life. Hi, I'm Emily LaRouche. Are you ready to make the journey from lawyer to entrepreneur? Every week, I'm sitting down with people who have mastered the art of running a business and want to share with you the lessons they've learned along the way. Join me as we experience the highs, the lows, and everything in between as we learn, share, and grow together. Welcome to Share the Love. Chris, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
So Chris, for those of you who don't know, local celebrity of Phoenix, Arizona, Chris Ronzio started a company, sporting events, right?
Yep.
Sporting event production company, built it up to over $3 million, sold it, started another company, built it up, still running it, business consulting, and then what happened? You started another company?
Started a third. I keep making the same mistake over and over. But yeah, so this one's really exciting, and it's just kind of compiled based on the last two businesses of experience, and I'm pretty excited.
Awesome. So this one is changing my life, and I know it's going to change yours, and it is called, drumroll.
It's called Trainual. Trainual.com, like a training manual.
Perfect. And so tell us, what problem did Trainual set out to solve?
Yeah, so if I could go back with my video company, as we were growing around the country, the biggest issue that we had was just hiring camera operators. And we did events in all 50 states. And so as we would get an event in a new state, we'd have to find a crew online and get them up to speed on our process so that they could make it look like they were us out in Nebraska or wherever they were. So training was always a big part of what we did. So then fast forward to the consulting company, and I worked with almost 150 different businesses, one-on-one, all different industries. And what I saw is that they not only had training issues, but their policies and processes and procedures and roles and responsibilities were scattered everywhere. And as they grew, the people problems became more and more apparent, and they needed one central place to put all that stuff, whether it was just for onboarding or training or people just to clearly know their roles. And so that's why we created Trainual. It's one centralized place where you can put the whole manual, the whole guide to your business.
That's awesome. So I thought I was super ahead of the game because I'm like, oh, I've never worked at a business that has documented processes. I was always the nerd who did that in my side time, would document my own job. Nobody cared if I did it, but I was like, you must have a manual.
That's good.
So I thought, with my business, I'm like the manual nerd, and it's all in Google Docs. But what I would hear over and over, I can't find it. I don't know where that is. And I didn't even know if they read it.
Right.
And so now that we're using Trainual, it's changed my life because I know every single person, whether they've read it, how much time they're spending on it. I mean, what are some of the other cool features?
Yeah, so really, Trainual is just about getting your business out of your brain. That's how I explain it to people, because most small business owners or firms or anyone that's watching this, they know what they do. They have a process for what they do, but maybe they haven't taken the time to write it down. And so if you can have one place to get your business out of your brain, then you can finally delegate things. And I think as a business owner or as even a manager, an employee within a business, delegation is the only way that you can elevate your own role in the company, because as you delegate, you're empowering other people to do what you did. So of all the companies I worked with, I saw this repeatable thing where you just need to figure out one process at a time, how to do it, how to document it, and how to delegate it. And that's what Trainual lets you do. So a lot of cool features, but really it's about just grouping your processes into roles in the company. And that way when you have a new employee, it's just one click, you invite them into the system, and they know exactly what's on their plate.
Right. And I know what you're thinking. Who has time for that? I don't, but I'm going to share my secret. So this is what I'm doing with Trainual. I have someone on my team, and you could use a VA, someone on Fiverr. It doesn't have to be someone on your team, but every time someone comes and they ask me something that's not in Trainual yet, I have to document the process to tell them what to do anyways. So I'm writing it down, and then I'm copying the person on my team who's responsible for taking that, putting it in Trainual. You could do the same exact thing, send it to a VA, whatever it may be. Then there's no excuse for I don't have the time for that. You get someone else to do it, and it's so easy. I mean, anybody can figure out how to use it.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I always tell people if you're just starting out and you have to communicate something to someone, whether you're using email or Google Docs or an Evernote that you're sharing, it's the same thing. You know, you've got to write it down once, you've got to explain it once, and you might as well explain it in a place that you can share with people again. So, you know, are you ready for Trainual? Is your business there yet? It's really up to you. Do you have 5 Google Docs and it's really easy to remember where they all are, or do you have 500 and it's just totally chaos?
Or do you have none? Then you're in big trouble. Then you definitely need Trainual. So I first heard about Trainual because Chris was using this for his clients. It wasn't even available to the public, but I can't imagine I'm the only one who was banging on the door saying, let me have it, right?
Yeah, so we actually built it about 3 years ago now, and like you said, it was just an internal tool for my consulting business, and we worked with retail companies and medical billing companies and law firms and online businesses and SaaS companies and service companies and really everything, but as we were consulting with them and building out their processes, we needed a leave behind. We needed a place to put everything so that when we weren't consulting anymore, they could reference everything that we had done. So we really built it to solve our own problem, but what happened was those clients started referring other people not to our consulting, but to our tool that we had built.
Oh.
And more people were asking for access. So we started letting people use it, and we didn't pay much attention to it. But over the last few years, it just really started to gain momentum, and we said, hey, I think we've got something here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's what I keep hearing, that all businesses, the great ones, are like, well, it didn't even start out that way. It was an offshoot of another business, and who knew this would be the big one?
Yeah, absolutely. It was only meant to be a small value add for our consulting firm, and now it's the whole business. So. And
it's an awesome tool. So you're known as the process master. I mean, if you live here in Phoenix, then surely you've heard of Chris Ronzio, right? Local celebrity. But the reason that your name comes up a lot in conversations is I've heard other business owners say, you know what, I'm struggling with getting my business organized chaos, name of your business. And you're a master at, creating processes and structure in a business. So what do you recommend to someone who's just starting out, like the top thing that you should focus on to try and systematize your business?
Yeah, so it's funny. When I first started consulting, everyone was coming to me and asking about the software tools they should use. They wanted to know what systems they should use. What CRM should I use, or what project management tool should I use? And so my business initially was about kind of a concierge for software tools and how to pick the right tool. But what I saw is that before you can pick the right tool, you have to unpack whatever the company's process is, because the process of how you do something informs what the right tool is. It's not the other way around. You're not going to mold your entire business around how HubSpot works.
Right.
You do what you do, and you've figured out some unique way to do it. Otherwise, you'd be the same as all your competitors. So it really starts with the process. And when you think about process, everyone has one, whether you've thought about it or not. If you're standing in line at Starbucks, you have a process. You're
right.
reading the menu. You walk up to the counter. You ask what you want. You pay for it. You go and wait for it. And it's just one at a time, those steps, writing them down. So I think the best way to start is to figure out what's the pain, what's the process, the one thing you're trying to delegate or trying to offload to someone else, and just take a blank sheet of paper or a whiteboard, or if you are in Trainual, your Trainual account, and just start to outline step by step by step, high level. First I do this, then I do this, then I do this. We have these little notepads. I gave you one, right?
Yeah.
And they're actually on our website too for download, but they're these notepads that are really just checklists. And it's funny, I go into people's offices a month after I've given them, and they have these sheets all over their office. But that's all it is a checklist of steps. And so if you can step back and think about, first I do this, then I do this, then I do this, as if you were communicating it to elementary school kid, then you're off on the right foot.
Awesome. So I have set my business goals, and I set my personal goals every year. So one of my personal ones for this year is I want to take horseback riding lessons. So to do that, I have to free up my time so that I can actually take a day off during the week and go do it while my kids are in school. So for me, this is funny. Chris gave me the notebook, and it's huge. And I'm thinking nobody's ever going to fill this thing out. And one day I had the whole thing filled out, and I needed more. And so I'm writing, here's all the processes. What I did is I put the title. I didn't fill out what the steps are because I'm not a detail. I'm a high-level person. So I wrote down all these processes, and then I handed it off to someone else and said, figure out the processes for all of these and get them in Trainual. But that's allowed me to have even more free time, because the more that's documented, the less I have to do, the more free time. Those horseback riding lessons are so close. I can smell the horse poo.
I love that you said that, because not the horse poo part, the free time part, because when I got started with the consulting, that's what it was all about. I love working with entrepreneurs and business owners and people that manage departments or run segments of businesses, because for them, if they can make the business run better, they're making more free time for themselves, and whatever they want to do with it, whether it's horseback riding or taking their kids to school every day, or going to see a matinee movie in the middle of the day and just unplugging, or going to the gym. I think that's why we're in business. That's why we work so hard, is to free ourselves up for the opportunity to relax whenever we want to, or do whatever we love. And most people aren't in business just to do that job over and over and over again.
Right.
So once you figure out how to do the job, how quickly can you delegate it to someone else? And you got to write it down or communicate it somehow.
Right. I know it seems overwhelming, and especially when you're a one-man shop, or you might have a part-time legal assistant, but you just don't have a whole admin team. So I utilize Fiverr a lot, and I love freelancers to help me with these short-term projects, help me get organized, help me document processes, so you can run your business better.
Yeah, I use Fiverr. I've used so many of those outsourced tools. I mean, I had all my accounting is outsourced. My Design Pickle for graphic design.
I love them.
Yeah, fun brand. And Upwork for more technical things or research. I use Fancy Hands as another service for just task-based, small things like put together a spreadsheet. So yeah, the more you can delegate. I even hired someone to come over and do ironing and stuff at my house one time, because there was just a pile that I couldn't stand looking at anymore. And I think if delegate everything possible and focus on the stuff that really moves the needle.
That's awesome. I completely agree. All right, so let's get down to some of the specs on Trainual.
Okay.
It's not expensive. It's actually cheaper than what I was using before, and it's a better tool. So tell us a little bit. We got to raise the prices then,
I guess.
No, they're fine. They're good. They're right on. So how many users can get in there, and do you have different levels? How does it all work?
Yeah, we have all different levels. I mean, we have companies that have 500 people in Trainual that are national franchises or something like that. And we have companies that have 2 people in Trainual that are just starting out but want to make sure that their processes are organized from the get-go. So the way we do it is we have 3 simple packages on our website for 5, 25, and 100 users. Beyond 100, we customize it for the business. So if there's some particular needs they have, we work that out and come up with something that fits their budget. So we want as many people as possible to get into Trainual, and so we're trying to make it more accessible and not cost prohibitive.
Awesome. And they're so great and responsive to feedback. So it's always being enhanced and developed even more and better. So I love it. And one cool thing I really like is that you can embed videos.
Yeah, so if you're training someone, as you know, if you've ever done it with a Google Doc or something like that, people learn in different ways. And so you can write out a whole process that's 10 pages long, or maybe you can make a 5-minute video, or maybe it's just a screenshot of yourself using some software and the buttons that you click on. Maybe it's a photo of you riding your horse and how to get on the horse and how to get back on when you fall off.
Yeah.
But photos, videos, documents, audio, all these things are ways to communicate, and so Trainual lets you use any of them. So you build out your step-by-step process, how to do this, how to do this, how to do this, and then you just paste in the videos and photos and text, whatever works for you.
That's awesome. One of the things I'm most excited about this year is because we have Trainual now, we are giving our team members an opportunity to earn more money by going through what we call like a level 2 training. And so they can register on their own. They can go into Trainual and request access to level 2 training, complete it on their own. And once they do, and they take all the tests, they pass the test, they can actually receive a raise. So they're in charge of their own income.
That's great. Yeah, so we have a library where you can set up modules like that you request access to. We have a forum where you can host conversations instead of them happening in email. Any questions about training, that you feel like you're answering over and over again every time you hire someone, just put in the forum. It's all searchable. All the content's searchable. So it's really meant to be a platform where you can look up any how-to in the business.
And it passed my test of, can I figure out how to use it on my own? Because if I can't, it's too complicated. If you've got to hire someone, it's too complicated. So if you're looking for a CRM or anything like that, if you can't figure it out on your own and set up a workflow or something basic, it's too complicated.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's a lot of complex ones out there.
Yes. Chris is actually offering all of our viewers half off their first month. So just use promo code Betties with a capital B, ETTIES. Check out the link below. Go on, sign up, get half off your first month. It's so affordable. You don't even need half off. Just do it.
Don't use the code.
Don't use the code. Pay full price. Trying to grow a business here.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that you found a practical application where Trainual might actually have helped increase your valuation in your business before you sold the first one, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I wish I had this tool back then, not just for training the camera operators, but even when I decided to step away from the company, I had a director of operations that I needed to promote to president of the company. And to do that, we started with just an hour brainstorming session of everything that I did daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, and came up with that list of 50 or 60 things that I needed to, over time, train him on to get off my plate until I was officially out. So, it was a 6-month process to make it happen, but it was a 1-hour brainstorming session to get it on paper, and that's really what started it all.
Awesome. And I've been reading a lot of business books, and they talk about, when you have your culture documented and it actually lives within your company, and then you've got your processes documented, the better you have your company run, documented, organized, systematized, the better valuation you'll get if you want to sell it.
Yeah, would you pay more for a car that was running or one that was broken down in the shed and needed the special key that only one person has?
Good analogy.
Right?
So even if it's a Maserati, if it's not looking good under the hood, it's not going to be worth as much.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll still take it though.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah. So it's funny, I have a friend that is a family lawyer up in Denver, and I went to meet with her one morning, and when I got there, she said, "I'm sorry, I have to cut our meeting short. I only have a half hour because I forgot my new receptionist is starting today, and I need to figure out what to do." And I think, even if you're not hiring all the time, you almost need your processes and your onboarding documented more when you hire infrequently because you forget how to do it. If you're not doing it regularly, you forget all the steps and you forget all the documents that need to be filled out. And having a nice package of how someone should learn about your company, it helps whether you're hiring one person or 100 people.
Yeah, I agree with that. And at Back Office Betties, our receptionists, they might be answering calls for over 50 different clients. And our team really likes to know their client. They want to get to know them. Sometimes they do a little Facebook stalking, LinkedIn, whatever. So we actually put all of that in Trainual so that they can go back and revisit the training for those clients at any time. It helps them to stay fresh on what are we doing to serve this client. Everything's documented right there, and they can go access that at any time.
That's great.
So before you go, I'm going to ask some rapid fire questions.
Uh-oh. Okay.
What is the thing you are most proud of?
My family.
Vanilla or chocolate?
Vanilla.
Breakfast or
Breakfast.
dinner? That was easy.
Always breakfast.
Awesome. Best place you vacation?
Oof. Hawaii.
Nice. Camping or the Waldorf?
The Waldorf.
And how can our viewers find you?
You could just search Chris Ronzio. I am on Instagram at Chris Ronzio, or visit Trainual.com and check out what we're doing over there.
Awesome. Check out the links. Visit. Sign up for Trainual. Why are you still here? Go. Now. Go. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Share the Love. Make sure to give us a thumbs up, share, and subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, and Google Play to get the latest content.